Today, I've got the easiest way to generate yourself or really anything else in Flux. And when I say easy, I mean really easy. It's like just a couple of clicks. It also inadvertently ups the game in terms of consistent character training for AI video, which I looked at in my last video on Kling. I'll show you what I mean. Plus, it kind of backdoor bakes in a Kling versus Minimax shootout that you're definitely going to want to check out. Okay, let's dive in. So one of the silent killers in the world of AI image and video generation platforms is Krea. I've covered them a number of times on the channel in the past, and notably, I think they have the only creative video upscaler available. I am convinced the Krea team probably drinks as much coffee as I do because they are always one of the fastest to implement and ship out a new feature. And indeed, we have that in this case as well, as they have added in the ability to train LoRAs into Flux. Very briefly, and just to fill any knowledge gaps, LoRA stands for low ranking adaptation. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into the woods here, namely because I don't have any breadcrumbs and these are Scandinavian woods, which means there are wolves around. Just know that if you hear LoRA, it means that the model has been trained on a specific character or thing. Now, it is kind of funny that this feature actually drops the same week that I did a video on Kling's new consistent character training for text to video. Overall, I was really impressed with it, although as many of you had pointed out, AI me seemed to be pretty angry. That definitely had a lot to do with the training data that I provided to Kling. Krea's method is a lot easier, namely because we're just dealing with images. Sort of a sneaky backdoor into consistent character video as well. We'll do a bit of a shootout on that in just a minute, but in the meantime, let's take a look at how you train in Krea. Now, the first thing that you'll want to do is head over to Krea. Probably the most important thing is come up to this button right here and change it to dark mode because, say it with me, only psychopaths use light mode. From there should be a tab at the top that says train. Now, as a quick note, I am in early beta access here. That said, they are handing out beta codes on their Discord and on their Twitter as well. So if you just happen to miss it, I mean, it will be live probably fairly soon. So once we're in the training module, all you really have to do is upload 3 or more images of the same style, face, or object. This is obviously significantly easier than 20 to 30 videos at 10 to 15 seconds. Now, I happen to be someone that has a significant amount of photos of myself pointing at nothing and smiling at the camera for YouTube thumbnails. So I just uploaded 30 images from my thumbnail folder plus my standard profile picture. I will say after some testing, you may want to punch out the backgrounds on your subjects. We'll take a look at why in just a little bit. There are a couple of important options you're going to want to hit before you hit train AI. Namely, you can set it to either take the style of the images you uploaded, an object within it, a character within it, or at the default level. Here's the thing that you're definitely going to want to do though. Come down and change your trigger word to, whatever you want to name the thing that you're training. Once your model has been trained, we simply head over to the generate tab and into the Flux module, where you can come down and add a style here. This will bring up the various Krea styles. And then of course, at the top, we have my styles. So I'm going to choose one of my guys here. So you can see now one of the Tim models has been loaded up here. We're going to crank this up in terms of its volume, I guess is what we can say. And then let's change out the aspect ratio here to 16:9. And of course, give it our old blue business suit chestnut. So normally, of course, we prompt a man in a blue business suit walking down a busy city street. In this case, I have to put Tim in a blue business suit, again, namely because we named that character Tim in the training. So, we're letting it know it's Tim, trigger that character. Fire off on the generate button and let's see what we get. Yeah, it's fast, man. I mean, yep, already up. Pretty crazy. So these look pretty good. Obviously, there are some issues here. Namely, I mean, the character model of me in a blue business suit looks pretty good, except we can see my bass guitars kind of hanging out here. Here's another interesting one. Again, it's ended up taking elements from my background with the guitars hanging on the building. I actually think that the bricks on the building are likely from the bricks in my background as well. And then additionally, I got 3 characters back here who are sort of me, or like at least like 3 alternate reality versions of me. This version of me, like he definitely keeps all of his keys on one of those like keychain things, probably wore a fanny pack at one point or another as well. So in order to bring more information to your model, what you're gonna wanna do is add another style. So we just come down here to the plus button here, and there are a number of preset styles that you can choose from. Let's go with this kind of like overcast dark sort of look. And then, yeah, we'll just use the busy airport waiting for a plane, give this a run. And as you can see, our results are definitely much better. Yes, I am now definitely in an airport, looking very upset about traveling. Slightly happier in this image. I don't know why most of my AI images come out so cranky. And then for some reason, there's another version of me waiting for like an open blues jam session at the airport. I'm pretty sure the other travelers are not going to appreciate that. So one thing that you'll definitely want to do as you're playing around with your prompts and styles is use this. It's kind of like I think of it as like a volume knob for your stylizer. So if you crank it all the way up, and with the prompt like a Tim, a futuristic warrior that looks like Tim. I actually double prompted there. Wearing black armor, holding a machine gun, walking through a desolate city, worried about an attack. You do end up with results like this, where again, we are taking a ton of influence from my own background. This actually image is pretty cool in all honesty. I guess after the apocalypse, I came back to do a quick YouTube video and found the studio looking like this. So again, offsetting that, we'll choose another style here. So let's stay in line and go with something. This looks appropriately, yeah, that looks kind of desolate. Let's try this guy, and making sure our style on this guy is turned up. Maybe just crank him down just a little bit and give it a whirl. And yeah, there you go, not bad. Definitely me looking like, I don't know, like a special forces member, which I am definitely not qualified to be. So after playing around with it a bit more, we do end up with some images like this, which look pretty good. This, I don't know, definitely indicating London. I presume that this guy in the background here is like, I just walked out of the pub, what happened? So it will definitely take some prompting and experimenting to find kind of what you're looking for. For example, this was in an office talking to a ghost while drinking coffee. Clearly my training data was too high here, but it started to hone in a little bit around here. What am I doing here? Am I putting on like, it looks like I'm either eating a mint or I'm putting on lipstick, but I am talking to a ghost. There was this one that was pretty hilarious in which I am talking to the ghost of like a dog emoji. This extremely unflattering one where I presume this is the ghost here that is haunting me saying, man, you have really let yourself go. And then this kind of hilarious one in which, again, I have put on weight, and then the ghost is like a dude wearing a dog costume, or it's like a realistic dog. I mean, this is a David Lynch scene. But I'll say, once you do have a style locked in, it's pretty good at maintaining consistency. For example, here is me as non-copyright infringing Iron Man. Again, as I mentioned in the last video, if things don't work out with Robert Downey Jr., Marvel, you can give me a call. But it's also fun just to sort of play around with the different styles. Like this looks like me as bootleg Iron Man from like the 1990s direct to VHS version of not Iron Man. Or you can end up with some kind of cool graphic novel comic book styles as well by leaning into that as a style reference. So one thing I'm not sure I got the chance to cover on the channel is the fact that with Krea, you can now generate video in Luma, Runway, Kling, and Minimax. So let's take this image that I generated up while I was testing earlier. It's kind of another one of me in the apocalypse scenarios. And then you can just go over to turn into video. From here, it actually just re-prompts your entire prompt. You can change it out if you want to. And then down here, we can actually change out the various models. Let's do a quick shootout between Minimax and Kling. So Minimax gives us this. I guess that is worried about an attack. Yeah, pretty good on the movement. Definitely maintains consistency in the character's face. So yeah, decent action there. Just a little bit of an awkward bit of acting, I would say. Kling, on the other hand, went a little bit on the nuts side. Did end up turning the character around. I do think that it does kind of lose face definition right around here. And then for some reason, there's like this sports car that goes by and kind of farts a bunch of exhaust at me. So running this idea in reverse, I went back over to Kling and gave it, kind of the Iron Man prompt and had it run using text to video with my character model. And we ended up with this, which I don't think is necessarily bad. There's some kind of like weird head movement there, but overall, like the design of the suit, I mean, it's very text to video. It it just kind of lacks any flair. There is a lot of like kind of inconsistencies and weird sort of morphy stuff happening in the background. Again, overall though, I think it's kind of cool, but things are a lot more interesting when we take that prompt, bring it over to Krea and run the Flux trained model on it, and then return to Kling to have it turn this into image to video. Yeah, that looks a lot more compelling and cinematic. And finally, we have the Minimax version, which again, I do think looks good. I just kind of think that it loses the characteristics of the character, in this case, me, a little bit more so than the Kling output did. So I'll definitely spend some more time experimenting with this. Not that, you know, I haven't spent a pretty good amount of time experimenting with it so far. And just to quickly show off a few outtakes, just to show that, yeah, you're gonna have to do some experimenting. This was one in a comic book style. I actually think this one kind of came out cool style-wise. It just didn't quite hit what I was looking for. Or this one where it decided to give me a random co-host. Her name is definitely Sarah, and she is always mad at me because I am not organized. Or some more model reference bleed with me as the pirate of a captain ship. Apparently, my crew is made up of clones of me. This boat is definitely sinking. That one's for you, Modest Mouse fans. So I would say definitely approach this with an experimental mindset, at least to get started. You might end up with some pretty cool stuff. Like this came out of my model bashed with 2 other models. I mean, this is not at all what I was expecting, but it's pretty cool. So, you know, just sort of have fun with it. You don't even have to necessarily use your character presets as well. You can just blend styles together to see what comes out. And again, because this moves extremely quickly, it's really great for iterating on ideas. Couple of quick updates on previous stories and some admin news. The results of the AI screenwriter versus human screenwriter came in. We covered this story in a video recently. It'll be linked down below. So in good news, it was a victory for the humans, but the margin was actually a lot closer than you might think. So script A was the human written script, and when asked which script is better, the audience chose the human written script at 50.9%, while the AI one was 49.1%. So that's pretty close. In terms of which script do you think was written with AI assistance, script A came out with a pretty commanding lead at 55%. Script B, again, which was the AI written script, had 44.5%. But sort of shockingly, when asked which script makes you want to read the rest of the story, that is pretty close. You could read the commentary on all of those results over at No Film School. As a quick follow-up on the Kling character model feature from the last video and that we did look at on this video, one of the questions that did come up is, do you have to use analog or human footage, or can you train up synthetic characters? Well, Halim Al-Rashi apparently did manage to get essentially mid-journey generated characters working in Kling 1.5's character model. I mean, it definitely has a bit of a synthetic, like sort of mid-journey character look to it. But again, if that's something that you're going for, this definitely proves that you can do it. So yeah, a synthetic character you can now cast across any of your AI videos, and you don't even have to run around with like your selfie stick taking a bunch of video. Rounding out, if you happen to be in New York City on November 19th of 2024, you can come hang out with me at the LTX Studio Community Meetup. I'll be hanging out with Megan Tan and the LTX team. I suppose we'll do a bit of a talk, but it's really kind of more of, again, a community meetup, a hangout. It'll be fun. If you're around, come check it out. The link is down below. This week turned into like character consistency week. And as always, remember, this is the worst that it will ever be. I thank you for watching. My name is Tim.